Welcome back to the Star Wars News Net's Timeline Show, episode 32, Mr. Sheehan, 32, and we are cooking here in the High Republic Phase 1, and we are here to discuss The Great Jedi Rescue by Cavan Scott for the little ones. Like, if you remember the young Young Jedi Adventures episodes that we were covering for a few months, we're back in that same realm of in terms of like the topics and the target audience for this book. However, seeing that it was for the younglings of the younglings, it made for a very easy week for us in terms of getting prepared for the timeline show, because we read about 10 pages of a book. That was all we had to do this week, instead of like, all right, let me refresh over the Rising Storm, which is coming soon.
Yes, exactly. You know, it's just sometimes nice to have a story that doesn't need to be hard hitting. Like we
Right.
kind of just covered a lot of what goes on here in detail in Light of the Jedi, but this is another good story that is absolutely for that same age group as Young Jedi Adventures is hitting. So for those kids who love that show and also love to read, this book is right up your alley.
So I would say, obviously, we went through this whole thing with the Light of the Jedi, and they're saving Hetzel from, the pieces of the Legacy Run that are falling, while also trying to save the people inside the like escape pods or the parts of the ship that are floating down. However, I really enjoyed the way that the book talks about it in a little kid point of view, and he glosses over a lot of details. For instance, in the book, like, I loved this, the artwork is fantastic, by the way. And so if you're watching on YouTube, like, you can check out, some of these images that I'll put up here. But if not, you're listening, just know that, like, if you've always wanted to see some of the scenes from the book, some pivotal moments from the book, like Light of the Jedi, played out, and see like an actual image of it, then maybe you should think about buying the Great Jedi Rescue, because you actually get some. And so one of the best parts of the book is when Loden and Bell help the people trying to get onto the ships to get out, and like the rich snobs aren't letting them in, and then the pirates are trying to take advantage. And we have like this image here of Bell and Loden sending the blaster bolts back, and it shows Bell's lightsaber moving so fast that there's two of them. I love the way that we actually get to see some of these come to life a little bit.
Yeah, I think that's something that's maybe I appreciated the most for this book, is that we get depictions of things from the Light of the Jedi, and honestly, the Great Jedi Rescue that we really just don't see in the comics. We don't see anywhere else. It's these are the first and only times we're seeing some of these scenes, especially this one depicted. So it's very valuable seeing these things. I love Bell and Loden.
It's our introduction to the iconic duo as well.
Yes,
Like
this is the
this moment
introduction.
is.
Yeah.
And something in the book that I thought was hilarious, and I'm sure you picked up on this as well, was, in Light of the Jedi, these rich elitists aren't letting us in, and they're threatening the fire on the Jedi. But then, like, the way it reads in the book is, the poor, the guards just didn't understand what was happening, and didn't, understand that these people were in great need, and the pirates are coming to attack, when in reality, those guards were just, not even thinking about helping the people, and we're thinking about firing on the Jedi. And then after the pirates, the Jedi dispatch of the pirates, they even still try to fire on Loden and Bell, like the guards do. But in the book, it's like, and as soon as the guards saw the pirates taken out, they were overjoyed, and they let the people in. And it was just, kind of Young Jedi Adventures-ifying, the book. It was giving us the youngling version versus, we've read the adult book. So it was cute to see that. And in my mind, I'm going, it was not okay. They tried to kill our boys.
Exactly. I think, for us, it was kind of entertaining to read these same events from a different kind of perspective.
Mhm,
Even the beginning of the book, where there's first 2 or 3 chapters of the adult Light of the Jedi book,
mhm,
are very heavy, lots of death. Yet, how do you start this story that is so heavy, but for kids? And so
mhm.
we have Hedda Cassette, and she's just the pilot, and like, oh no, the Legacy run crashed. And anyways, it's like it just kind of moves on. But like for those
Right.
who've read the book, that is completely traumatizing to read. That
Mhm,
like you get this whole chapter worth of backstory for this character and her motives,
mhm,
how she's been her whole life, and oh my gosh, she died in the most horrific way. But
mhm.
like, the same thing here. Like, there's a lot of backstory to these rich elite family who's there, and
Mhm.
for them to just kind of dumb it down for the book, not dumb it down, they'll summarize
Right.
this, um, just in a way that like, oh, they didn't know, they were just keeping out people from their
Mhm.
property. That's all. And it's like, oh, I'm actually raging at these people inside.
I do love something that they included in the book where it was, there's a message that went out to all in Hetzel, and they had hope, and it was hope to all who heard it, and it was the Jedi are on their way. I think that we in the High Republic, the Jedi are at their height, and so I love it when there's these moments where we get these like this awe-inspiring, unbridled hope that exists because the Jedi are on their way to help, and I love the artwork again. Like we get to see like a big Republic long beam and the Jedi vectors here in space amongst the wreckage of the Legacy Run making their way down. And you have Buryaga, and like you said, we have Nibisek, and we have oh my gosh, the
Mikhail
Duros
Supmani
is
and
yes, you have Mikhail, and then you have
Tami.
Teami is the Duros. Yes, Teami
Yes,
is the Duros. And so we get introduced to some of these Jedi, and they're flying the vectors, and we get like a brief moment of what that's like, and they're working together to try to save all of the people that are in the wreckage. I thought it was cool they could get a visual for it once again. Like it was nice with some of these with this brief moment we get to see like a visual of all of this.
absolutely. And I don't I kind of don't remember if you have the other one, but there's even the part where we have the Jedi trying to all of them interlink the via of our Chris and try to get this wreckage to miss one of the suns. So it's kind of cool to see that we,
Hmm.
get a depiction of that where it gets shifted just ever so slightly, so it does not hit the sun and it does not destroy all life in the entire sector. So it's amazing. Yeah, here they are all just working together. I love it.
Mhm. And, like, there was the line of "together," and I love how they highlight some of the really important lines
I
in the
do
book, so,
love
like, the
that.
kids the kids know, "Oh, this is really important," where it says "together. We can do anything through the Force," Master Nib said, and, for a kid, obviously, the Force, isn't real, but the idea of that together we are stronger, together, we are better, like, we are more united. The more united we are together, the more we can accomplish. I think that's important for like kids to read and begin to understand and provide that ideal optimism for them.
Absolutely. The Light of the Jedi does have a lot of hope in it, and so I'm glad that that message can be carried out to kids as well. That
Hmm.
we don't have to make you don't have to make a new story. You can take the same one that resonates so deeply with so many readers and give it to a younger audience who is just starting to read. I think
Hmm.
that's maybe the most valuable thing from this is that all ages can enjoy this one story. It's just
Hmm.
different perspectives, different reading levels. It's
Hmm.
awesome.
Absolutely. And then obviously the image that we have where we get to see some of the Jedi from the story that we're following here come together to help move, the object out of the way of the star with that's filled with, the fuel that's gonna
The
or
Tabana gas,
the
which
Tabana
Lando
gas.
Calrissian later mines in Empire Strikes Back.
What a callback. And so the Tabana gas is gonna blow up. Also, it's interesting that, I guess for 200, plus years, we still I guess there was no efficiency in what it was needed to fuel ships because we still have Tabana gas being used hundreds of years later. Like, we didn't find another source of, like, maybe cleaner, renewable energy going on in the Star Wars galaxy.
Absolutely not. I I did watch a video one time that kind of poked fun at that, like how there's like thousands of years of civilization going on here in Star Wars, and there's like not much advancement.
Well,
But
it's one of it's like the theory of what's it called? It's called like technological stagnation theory or whatever, where
mm,
for like these universes to like kind of stay for the most part in the same realm like of technology as it progresses, like it just doesn't, because it's just it's a medieval story, so it's always going to be told from a medieval point of view. Like Star Wars is, technology wise, like we are at this point and that's just kind of where we are to some degree.
exactly.
But even within Star Wars, like Bacta is just now being introduced into
I
this time
do love
period,
that. I do love that.
and travel is hard. Like I think they do expand upon it a lot in Star Wars. I think more so than maybe some people give it credit for. One of my favorite things is like Naboo starfighters, how they just hover instead of having landing gear. But obviously they have landing gear for X-wings and stuff in the original trilogy. And when I was watching one of those like ILM video, like shows, the documentary on making the movies, like the
Mhm.
ILM stuff on Disney Plus. One of the people for Fandom Menace said that he pointed that out to George. Like he said that uh, well, these hover, but the X-wings, the ones in the future don't, and it feels like we're going backwards if we have these just hover. And George basically told him like, I don't care in my universe that M1 starfighters hover. That's cool, and that ended the conversation. Like, it's just the way it went. So,
I'm I gotta say, I don't want to lose the point here, but like I'm obsessed with how many different times George Lucas is on record saying, "Oh, you brought up a like inconsistency. I really don't care. I'm going to make my story." And I kind of just I know it's good. I don't care if you
mhm.
don't think that makes sense. It makes sense to me. It doesn't need to make sense actually. Like I
The best one,
I
in my
love the way.
opinion, is the trench run when they were like,
Oh,
when someone told them like
yes.
technically, like if they were going that fast and like they would finish the trench run in like 0.9 seconds or like 9 seconds total or something.
Yes.
And he said, I don't care. Like fast is more fun. Like who cares? Like you're already watching. That's why it drives me nuts when sometimes people like go frame by frame on things, or they try to point out these major inconsistencies with various things. I'm like, you're watching a movie about space wizards that levitate things with our minds in a universe where a plasma beam comes out of a saber that somehow doesn't just keep going forever. And you probably just got done watching something where a guy snapped his fingers and used 6 stones to kill half the universe as well. So, like, really, are we really going to nitpick, whatever it is that
The knife's missing. The throat.
drives me insane? Nothing angers me more than that.
Oh,
But
I'm with you.
this image right here, though, was really cool to
Look
see
at
all
who's
the
at the
Jedi
center.
coming
Look at who's
together.
at the center.
Avar Chris, we love Avar. Ugh,
Exactly.
such an Avar stan.
Her
And
ability to connect all Jedi minds puts her at
but
the
even
center of
here
this
it says
frame.
Jedi Master Avar Chris contacted every other Jedi on the mission. We don't have enough time to stop the cargo container. It's moving too fast, even for us. But we can change its course so it misses the suns. And like she gives him hope, and Master Nib, together we could do anything through the force. Like I just love that. And then just to kind of wrap up, obviously the Jedi save Hetzel. We know this, and Avar is called the hero of Hetzel. But we do get a cool look at Starlight Beacon and all of its glory. I love
Beautiful.
how the artwork here, like the light literally is shining, like the starlight is literally shining at the top, which is really fun. I love it every time we get a look at Starlight Beacon. Sometimes I wish they made it look a little bit larger. I know like we could see like the little ships that are flying in and out of it right now.
Yeah.
But I think sometimes they could even scale it up a little more to make it feel even larger than it is. I think what they're going for though is it is truly like this beacon because it's out in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah. Um, if you have read Starlight Stories, sometimes there's depictions where it does kind of it sometimes it does look like it's
Mhm.
massive or huge, but um maybe that's also intentional that it's not, because think about the Death Star and how that is meant to be oversized and
Mhm.
domineering and honestly just a bad omen. I think
Right.
for Starlight Beacon to be maybe a little smaller in stature shows the humility that went into it. So,
Hmm. I love
there's
that.
something
That's
there
a good
too.
point.
Also, like the design of it, the ring, the circular ring and the studs that are coming out of it. This is just kind of just off the top of the head, my just thought right now that just popped into my head. It kind of looks like
We
the
love it.
Republic symbol, kind of like
Yeah,
that's
I can
kind
see
of
that.
the it's a little bit, but
I can see
I thought
that.
that was kind of
Well,
cool.
that's canon. They're going for it. That's what we're just gonna say that. I mean, we're recording this at midnight, so
I'm having
who knows
insane
what fun
thoughts.
thoughts might who knows what fun thoughts might happen here. So like I love a good image of Starlight Beacon. And then of course we end with this one. And Buryaga stood with his fellow Jedi at the center of Starlight Beacon. They had saved many people from disaster, and with the new space station, they would be able to help many more. As the crowd cheered, the Jedi raised their lightsabers, vowing to always protect the light and life wherever it was found, and to be the guardians of peace and justice throughout the galaxy. Which I love this moment. We even see Elzar off, in the side there by Avar, and
Hmm.
we have Loden is or sorry, Bell is there, and so I love seeing the Jedi ignite their sabers. But the something I try to tell people with the High Republic, and I think you're with me on this, is yes, it's brand new Star Wars. Like everything about it is like brand new characters, brand new timeline, brand new stories. You have to, you know, take some minutes sometimes to get invested in brand new characters when you have a ton that you love. But it's so worth it because is one, great stories, but two, it magnifies everything from the Skywalker saga. Like it makes Palpatine's rise feel even more tragic. It makes the Jedi's fall feel even more uh devastating. It makes Luke's triumph and bringing his father back and tossing the Emperor into the Death Star, you know, containment grid, I guess, or whatever. It makes that reactor. It makes that even more, powerful when Rey triumphs in the Rise of Skywalker. It just adds depth to all of it because we see the Jedi at their peak. We see what could have been. We see what was, and having these little moments here about how they would always protect the lights, and we know that they're not. We know that that's not going to happen. We know they're going to fall somewhat into some darkness with the Clone Wars. Their light will be diminished. But we get at these moments where we see that. So it's like it tells the great stories. It feels completely Star Wars, brand new, but with all the threads of familiarity that you want.
Yeah, I love that. I do think the High Republic has done this interesting, uh, unique, cool job of being its own story,
Hmm.
but also it has served to make the saga films that much better. It gives context to what came before, and now going into the
Hmm.
Phantom Menace, when they talk about what's happened in the generations past, and you know how good it was, you know how
Hmm.
bad it is now. Um, to see all these wonderful Jedi and it be cut down to just Luke Skywalker, and then it gets passed
Hmm.
on to Rey. You have this greater understanding of what is at stake. You
Hmm.
know what's at stake if you just watch the movies. It perfectly portrays that, but it gives that much more weight to read this stuff,
Hmm.
and that is my favorite thing about the High Republic.
I love it. So, quick pod this week. Next week, we'll be back with like a mix of like some short stories. We got some comics to start getting into for a while. So, that'll be fun as we dive into the world of comics and short stories for a little bit. Luke, always a pleasure for the timeline show. Make sure you check us out, Apple and Spotify at Star Wars Newsnet. Like and subscribe. Leave us a little bit of a review. We'll have no Monday pod this week because I will be out of town all weekend and we're recording this on Thursday. I'll be gone Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. So we'll not be able to record anything for you guys this weekend, but we'll be back on Thursday for Star Wars Newsnet Live, another timeline show next Saturday as well. We will see you then for Light and Life, everyone. And for our American listeners, remember, we are all the Republic.